Buckle up, folks. This podcast is all about diving into the good, the bad, and the ugly of our bodily, spiritual, and mental experiences. If you are not prepared to challenge your assumptions, laugh at yourself, laugh at me, or maybe even shed a tear or two, then you might want to look elsewhere. But if you're ready to get real, get honest, and get a little weird, then welcome to the Just Chrissy podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy McCammon. Hello, friends. Welcome back. This is Chrissy, the host of Just Chrissy, and I have had several people ask me to share my testimony about my wellness journey. And so I'm going to try and keep it really abbreviated because I only have 15 minutes and I literally could talk for hours about all the little details. But in 2017, I was the transportation director for a public school system, and I felt like the Lord, like how things just start to get uncomfortable when the Lord's trying to move you. And so my job was becoming uncomfortable. I was smiling on the outside, severely unhappy and sad on the inside, high levels of stress. I was the transportation director, so that meant when someone's mad about the school bus or the sports van or someone who took one of the vehicles or maintenance on vehicles or state reporting, but mainly, it's very stressful because you deal with a lot of people who are unhappy by the time they've gone through the school, the principal, your secretary, and then they get to you. They're just not happy. And so that became a very stressful job. And I felt like the Lord was telling me that it was time for me to move on. However, that was uncomfortable because that meant that we would lose half our income and all of our benefits. I carried the insurance, and it was, school district. It was really good insurance at that time. So anyway, finally one day the Lord said to me, and when I say he said to me, not an audible voice, I do feel like, when you pray, when you spend time in his word, you do have discernment and you do recognize his voice, but it's not an audible voice. But anyway, I just want to be clear about that so I don't embarrass Stan. So he said to me very clearly, I want you to quit so you can learn, so you can teach. People are too busy for me, and they're too busy for each other. I was like, what? I didn't know what he meant. I knew what he meant by the busyness, but I didn't know what he meant by learning so I could teach. I thought he meant the Bible, which is fine. I'd have been happy. Whatever he wants, I'd have been happy to do that. So short of the long is, Stan and I prayed. We agreed. I quit my job. That was June of 17. By the end of that year, probably August, September, I had, praise the Lord, gotten involved with an essential oil company, started learning about essential oils. I had no idea up until that point that there was any other option except to go to the doctor or get over-the-counter meds. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are probably in the same position that I was. And so I had horrible allergies for years. Thought this was normal because a lot of people around me have horrible allergies. I want you to know that's not normal. I was taking 2 over-the-counter medications a day, and they weren't working anymore. And if I got up in the morning and I didn't take them and my allergies acted up, I would have to lay down on the couch and wait for 4 hours for that medicine to kick in, and I would just be sick. So to learn that essential oils worked for my allergies and that there was other options, I was astounded. I had no idea. Well, that began my learning journey into holistic wellness because I learned that the oils worked. And then from there, the company I was involved in was very supportive, actually encouraging, and basically wanted you, if you're going to be in business with them, selling oils. They didn't want you just selling oils. They wanted you teaching how they worked. And so I got into teaching about how their different products worked. And in that sense, I learned so much. And that kind of got me a good foundation. So then about 2019, a friend of ours, they pastor in a different denomination, but their denomination, their leadership was doing a 21-day fast, and they were like, "Hey, you guys want to do this 21-day fast?" And we were like, "Sure, we'll do like the Daniel diet. That's good." But I will tell you that like I am someone that walked 3 miles a day, and in my generation, like you walked to lose weight. That's what you were taught. If you move more, you'll lose weight. Well, I wasn't losing weight, and I was gaining weight, and I didn't know why. And I was walking 3 miles a day. So I was doing what they were saying you were supposed to be doing. And I was so frustrated. And I even remember one day, like just being in tears because I was eating 900 calories a day and I was walking and I was still gaining weight. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm continuing to gain weight. So I knew something was drastically wrong. So 2019 came along. Our friends, they were going to do this 21-day fasting, and I was like, okay, well, we'll do that. That'll be fun. So that'll be good. So we did the 21-day fast, and during that time, I was introduced to the keto diet, and I was like, wow, this sounds really good. Like we could still have like cream cheese, like we have these like high fat foods, and so we were like, yeah, let's try that. So at the end of January, we went into this keto diet. And like the first week, I lost 3 pounds. It was fantastic. The second week, I lost a couple pounds. Like I started losing weight and it was like great. And it did slow down. Like, then it got to like 1 pound a week. But by April, I was breaking out in a rash and I didn't know what was going on. And it was from my chin all the way down to underneath my breast. And if Stan breathed on me, I would go into tears. And I didn't know what to do. And I knew like the doctor just wanted me to do steroids. And I knew very clearly from the Lord that I was not to do the steroids. So I didn't do the steroids. And so I just started praying like, Lord, I need help. Like I need answers. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. I was taking tea tree oil and applying that. And that would give me some relief for a little bit, but not long enough. And so a friend of mine said, hey, I've been going to see this natural doctor that's treating my Lyme's. And, he's telling me about his protocols and things. And I'm like, oh, like immediately, like I knew in my spirit that was where I was supposed to go. So I asked him for the number. I called, made an appointment. And they actually do I call it cellular testing, but I didn't care. Like I just knew that's where I was supposed to go. And so I went in, did the testing, and it came back. And I said to her in the appointment, I said, do you think that because I did the keto diet, it caused this? And at that point she said, I don't think the keto diet caused it. I think it revealed the issue. The issue was that my liver was sluggish. And so throwing that high amounts of fat in there and expecting it to process. And now looking back too, the issue was I was in the keto diet. You are burning fat very quickly. And so I had now with the knowledge that I have, I realized I had a lot of toxins and hormones and things that were stored in my fat tissues. And when I did the keto, it was releasing like a banshee in my system. And I wasn't able to detox properly. So it's trying to come through my skin. And I was just in detox it was too much. And so anyway, so I went through the process. I if I remember correctly, I don't have this written down, but I think I had like 5 heavy metals, 3 parasites. I had a sluggish liver, a sluggish gallbladder, and I don't think my kidneys were draining properly. So I had a lot going on. Little did I know what I now know, which was I also came through 40 some years of extremely stressful situations. I had a lot of emotional things that I had not dealt with. I was feeling very discouraged. There was just a lot going on. And so slowly, little by little, I began to heal. But in that process, I am someone who asks a lot of questions. And so I started asking a bunch of questions and like doing research, and I needed to understand why I was doing what I was doing, what was happening in my body, etc. And I said to my husband, I said, I feel like I need to, at the same time, okay, so that was so going into 2020 was crazy because we had, the big, viral attack. And I knew immediately, like I sensed in my spirit something wasn't right about that. I knew how the immune system worked because God had been teaching me. And I knew that there were some people lying about things because I knew how the immune system worked and what they were saying wasn't making sense. So people I was close to that I loved a lot and did not want to see falling it prey to the system. They didn't trust me because the doctor said blah blah blah, whatever it was. And I get it. Like the doctor went to school, has a certification. We put a lot of trust in the doctors, and I will always say I'm not disparaging the doctors and the nurses because I do think they go to school and with the intentions of making a difference. But their protocols and how they have to practice depending on where they are is dictated and determined by other people. And so I said to my husband, Stan, I said, well, I feel like I just need to learn in a more organized way. Like I've learned a lot of information. I know a lot, but I don't have the credibility because I don't have the letters after my name. And at that point, I wasn't even thinking about going into business or doing it as a practitioner. I was just thinking about like just general knowledge, being able to help and teach. So I reached out to a friend and said, I don't know that I'm going to go into business. I just want to learn an organized way. She was a natural doctor. I'm like, where would you recommend? And she recommended this IHP program, which is Integrative Health Practitioner. And so that is where I ended up going. It's self-paced education. And I did the level 1 and I loved it. And then I decided to do the level 2. Not only did it give me more credibility, but it allowed me to do testing and read tests and be able to help people. So I did the level 2. And even when I graduated from there, like I also was running a full-time photography business. So I had a lot on me. And I literally just shut the photography business down this past December to fully focus on this and obviously the church. So I spent the last several years just kind of trying to decide the direction that I wanted to go. All that to say, I always knew like I was to teach. So then my thought was, well, do I teach one-on-one? Do I have seminar? Like, how do I teach the masses? Because that's what I feel like we need to do. Like to turn this around, people need to have knowledge. And so I do a lot of one-on-one consultation and I love that. But also I feel like this podcast is a way of getting out information that's basic information that you can take in drips, like 15 minutes at a time, just to get a good foundation and to be able to be like, oh, you know what? I want to know more about that. I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. So my hope is that with the podcast, we can do that here. We can help educate the masses, have discussions, talk about the studies that are coming out, new things. And if you are someone who is discouraged like I was, not feeling well like I was, having a lot of symptoms like I was, I really just want to encourage you. I want my story to encourage you and give you the hope that, yes, if I just make some changes in my life, it can make this huge difference. And if that happens, then I feel like I have accomplished what God has called me to do, which is to learn so I can teach. So as we go into the rest of our 30-day reset, keep that in mind that your story and what you're learning, you can share with others. And through all of that, we can grow this community of people with knowledge and bring back a more holistic view on wellness. And hopefully the next generation will do a turnaround, because I really am scared for the next generation and the direction, that they're going right now, because they have no clue. I had no clue. I had no clue about anything. I just trusted what I was told. And so high five, go out, share your story, apply the things you're learning, and you will be a personal testimony, a personal witness to someone else who also needs that encouragement. I really I really hope that my story will encourage you. If you're dealing with issues, I really feel like the Lord give us an inbuilt ability to heal, and that we need to ask questions. We need to include Him in the decision making, and sometimes He chooses to heal and sometimes He doesn't. But I truly, truly believe that we can do better. And so I pray that my story encourages you, and that as you learn, you will help others.